They white, right? Ephraim, how you doing, my brother? Both of y'all so-called Puerto Rican?
Yeah.
This your little sister? Your daughter?
My daughter.
Your daughter, good, good. All right, Brother Henry, you got the information. Now, question. You know what the word Puerto Rican means?
Now he just told us Puerto Riches.
The Puerto Riches. Are you a Puerto Riches?
Am I?
Yeah. Nah, right? Nah, that's crazy to think about. Like, nah, I'm not a Puerto Riches. Then you call yourself Puerto Rican. The thing is, the Bible doesn't call you Puerto Rican. You know what it calls you? It calls you an Israelite from the tribe of Ephraim. That's what the Bible calls you. Now, do you think it's important to know where we come from in the Bible? Do you think that's important information? Why you say that?
Why? I mean, I think it's important to know where you come from in general.
Absolutely, absolutely. Just like before Puerto Rico, do you know where your people came from? Like how they got to the land of Puerto Rico? You don't know, right? Just like so-called African Americans, black people today, we think our history starts in slavery in 1619 with yokes of iron on our neck. But we never realized God actually calls us the Israelites, the greatest nation on the planet. And the Bible describes what happened to us as a people and why we're in the conditions that we're in. That's what we're going to show you today, all right? First start out 2 Ezra 13. Because you said you don't know where your people came from before Puerto Rico, right? The Bible actually describes it. You ever heard of the Bering Strait? Never heard of that. Now, I learned in school that the so-called Native Americans, that the so-called Hispanics, that they came over to the Western Hemisphere on a little block of ice from Russia all the way over to Alaska. That's what I learned in school. That's not possible. And the Bible describes how we actually came over here, because I'm so-called Native American. The Bible actually describes how we came over here. All right, I'm going to show it to you.
This is the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 40. These are the 10 tribes which carry away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osei the king, who Salmanessar, the king of Assyria, led them away captives.
So during this time, we were captive under the Assyrians, Now, anytime you look throughout history, you will find the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans captives, oppressed, slaves. It's a reason because we broke God's commandments. That's why God allowed these things to happen to us. That's why even today, if you look at the conditions of blacks, Puerto Ricans, Haitians, Mexicans, we're all on the bottom because we broke God's commandments. So the solution is that we must keep God's commandments. You understand? Now this history right here happened during this time. We were captives. Read on.
And he carried them over the water. So they came unto another land. And when they took counsel among themselves, they would leave the multitude of the heathen.
You see that during this time, we decided we're going to leave the multitude of the heathen, the people who have us oppressed, and do what?
Leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth unto a farther country.
So we decided we're going to go to a further country. This is what we're reading about the Western Hemisphere. Just like this map's a little small, right? But you know about a little bit about geography. You got North America, you got South America, you got Central America, right? During this time, everybody lived on the Eastern Hemisphere. Nobody lived over here.
Never mankind dwelt.
You see that? Where never mankind dwelt. What did they tell us in school about Christopher Columbus? What'd you say, sis?
He founded the Americas.
That he founded the Americas, right? But what people were here before Columbus? The Native Americans, the Hispanics. We were here before Christopher Columbus. But they teach us Christopher Columbus, he founded the Americas. He founded first. Well, they say in 1492, Christopher sailed the ocean blue. That's what I learned in school, and I still remember it. That's probably what she's learning. But it's important that you teach her true history because they're not going to teach her this in school. So it said in 1490, they say in 1492, Christopher Columbus discovered the Americas. You know what Christopher Columbus actually did in 1492? You know about that history? This is what Christopher Columbus did in 1492. He enslaved the natives and he killed them. He raped our women and he destroyed our young boys. That's what Christopher Columbus did in 1492. You even see depictions where they had a cross in one hand and a sword on the other. And they said either you can worship Christianity and the white image of Jesus, which isn't in the Bible, or you can die. And that's how today most of our people are either Catholic or we're Protestant. We go to the Christian church, but none of those religions are in the Bible. So these things happen to us throughout history. That's what Columbus really did. He would never came over here and discovered nothing. He came over here and killed the native people. Read on.
That they might keep their statue, which they never kept in their own land.
So what we came over here to do, we were trying to keep our laws and our statutes that we weren't able to keep over there in oppression. Read on.
And they enter in Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river.
So we went through the Euphrates. You can't really see it on this map, but we went through the Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river, and we did what?
For the Most High then showed signs for them, and hold still the flood.
So he held still the flood of the Pacific Ocean right here that we were being carried over on. Read on.
Until they passed over.
And we went through all the way through the ocean. How long do you think it would take us to get from Africa all the way over here to the Americas? How long do you think that would take by boat? Because we didn't have planes back then. That'll take us a long time, right? The Bible describes how long it actually took us. Read on.
For though the country was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half.
It took us a year and a half. That's how you know it's talking about the Americas. To get all the way from Africa over here to the Americas, it took us a year and a half. That's how long it took. Read on.
In the same region is called Arsarid.
And the same region is called Arsarid. You ever heard of Arsarid before? Never heard that, right? We're going to show you what the Jewish Encyclopedia actually tells you the word Arsarid means. All right? Read what you got.
Arsarith from the Jewish Encyclopedia. The name of the land beyond the great river far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell.
So that's the Hispanics and Native Americans, read.
Observing the law of Moses until the time of the restoration, according to 4th Ezra chapter 13, verse 45.
That's what we're reading right now, 2nd Ezra 13 and 45, right? Read.
Columbus identified America with this land.
You see that? Columbus identified America as this land. So Columbus opened up the book of 2nd Esdras, and he said, there's a region where these people went called Arsarith. And when he found it, that's when he discovered America is Arsarith. And they named it America. That's how they found our people. He read our Bible, our books, and he found out where we are. And that is how he ended up coming to that land and oppressing our people. You never knew that history was actually in the Bible, did you? Now that's important to know, because remember, the Bible said we came over to this land to keep our commandments, which we never kept in our own land. You ever seen these before right here? What I'm wearing on my shirt? Now you see a lot of Native Americans, they still wear these. But you look at older pictures of Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, you'll find these fringes on the borders of our garments. Just like if you've seen, what do they call them? When they do the fiestas, a lot of them still put on the fringes on the borders of their garments. Just like if you've ever seen, what do they call it, Native American? Powwows. If you've ever seen the powwows, they got these on the borders of their garments right here. Because we still remember that history of when we came over and we were trying to keep our commandments, which we never kept.
Right.
Now, I'm going to show you how important this is. Deuteronomy 28, verse 15. Now, why do you think that history happened to us? Why we had to go from being oppressed, trying to run away from oppression, to then those same oppressors came to our land and oppressed us again.
Right.
Just like we are divided by all these different nationalities, right? Just like in the Americas, we got Puerto Ricans, we got Native Americans, we got Dominicans, we got Cubans, but all of us are the same people. What happened in 2nd Esdras, all we did was when we were going down the coast, we were all dropped off in different spots. And the Ephraimites, which are the Puerto Ricans, they took one land. The Mexicans, the Issacharites, they took one land. The Native Americans, they took America, obviously. That's what happened throughout our history. That's how we got here. But we all came from the same people. Now the question is, like I said, how is it that we ran from oppression on one side of the world and those same oppressors followed us a year and a half all the way to the other side of the world and oppress us again today? Why do you think that happened to our people? Don't know, right? Now I'm describing to you, this is actually described in the Bible. The reason why it happened, it's actually depicted here in the Bible. We're going to show it to you, all right? Deuteronomy 28.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Now it says, if we didn't hearken unto the voice of the Lord our God. You know what the voice of the Lord our God is? It's this Bible right here. That's the words he gave us so we could understand in these last days who we are and where we come from. What we got to do to stop being on the bottom, to stop seeing the conditions of our people the way that they are. Read on.
To observe, to do all his commandments and the statutes which I command thee this day.
So the key is, if we didn't keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments that he gave us as a people, something will happen. Read on.
That all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So it said curses will come upon us and overtake us. Now, one thing that we talked about is, remember, we went from one side of the world being oppressed all the way a year and a half to another part of the land where those same people followed us and oppressed us. Would you think that's a blessing or a curse? That's a curse, right? That's a curse. Something had to have happened supernaturally that allowed those same people to follow us all the way from one end of the earth to follow us to oppress us again. That's a curse. Now, would you agree that the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that we're on the bottom of the earth today, or do you think we're on the top, like we have some sort of rulership on the planet? You agree? We're on the bottom, right? Just like you've heard of black on black crime before, right? Hispanic on Hispanic crime. But I've never heard of white on white crime or Chinese on Chinese crime. I've never heard of Arab on Arab crime. That happens with our people. That's a curse. That's a curse that God allowed to happen to us, where we have a level of hatred one towards another. Where everywhere we go, we're being oppressed. Where everywhere we go, we're downtrodden and on the bottom. That happened because why? Why did it happen? What you say, sis?
They didn't follow the commandments.
There you go. We didn't follow God's commandments. That's why it happened. What's your name, sis?
Leilani.
Leilani. That's a beautiful name. What's your name, sir?
Omar.
Omar. Leilani and Omar. All these things happen to us throughout history, not because God hates us or because we have darker colored skin. It's because, like Leilani said, we broke God's commandments. So what do you think the solution is? If the problem was we broke God's commandments, what's the solution?
To follow them now.
We have to follow God's commandments now. There you go. There you go. Now I got a question. Do y'all believe in the Bible?
We go back and forth. We go back and forth.
What you mean by that?
So like I grew up, I was telling buddy,
Anathiah?
yeah, I was telling him I grew up in a Pentecostal church.
Me too.
So I was forced into religion because my mom used it as like her Sundays. She was going to clean the house, so kick the kids out, send them to church. Yeah. So I didn't get to really like get my own opinion on it. And then when I grew up, it was kind of like a lot of things happened, like you're saying, like curses, and it was just back and forth for me. So I was like, if God is real, then why is this happening to me? Like, you know what I mean?
There
like,
you go. I like that. Yeah, I got you. So. What about you, sis? You ever believed in the Bible? Any kind of?
I've never really like been to church and like
I got you.
studied it really, so I don't know.
I got you. Now, you said one of the reasons why you didn't believe in the Bible was because you've seen these bad things happening to us and you never really got the answer of why they happened, right? Do you think you have the answer today why they happened?
Yeah, I mean, in that sense, yeah.
Absolutely, right? These curses happen to us as a people, bad things, because we broke God's commandments. So, I'm going to show you a few commandments today that both of y'all can follow that should show you if you want to get out of the conditions that plague us as a people, this is what I got to do.
The scriptures say, where there is no vision, the people perish.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV.
Do you know history?
I'm going to show you and prove to you that the Israelites are black, were always black.
Dance for time, just move up your body. Don't get loose and groove on the body. Bruise, whine.
Put on the armor, the procedure complete. Me nah go back, nah retreat. All traitors, every Jezebel must get delete. Me no sleep on a demon, me keep a full clip. Conspire me downfall, cause them want see me slip. Stay close to the real ones, we seal off and legit. Cause I gotta use them to keep your soul from the pit. This a war life, I swear the damn.
This is for you, Leilani, alright?
I got a question for you.
Yeah, no problem.
So if we broke God's commandments and these bad things are happening to us, haven't like the white people broke God's commandments? Why is it not happening to them?
Very good question. Psalm 78 and verse 5. Very good question. Now, the answer is actually in the Bible. Actually, I want Psalm 147 and 19 first. Psalm 147, 19. That's a great question. Great question. Psalm chapter 147, verse 19. Read it.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 147 and verse 19. He showed his word unto Jacob.
So the Bible says he shows his word unto Jacob. You know any history about the Bible who Jacob was?
Not really.
Got you. So Jacob's name was changed to Israel. Israel had 12 sons, which are the 12 tribes of Israel today, who we descend from. You descend from one of the sons of Joseph called Ephraim. That's our history. So it said his word was given unto Jacob. Jacob gave that same word to his children. Read on.
His statutes and his judgment unto Israel.
His statutes and his judgments unto Israel. So he gave his word unto us as a people, and he gave his statutes, meaning his orders, and his judgments, meaning the things that happen if you break the commandments, unto our people, unto Israel. Read on.
He have not dealt so with any nation.
You see that? God didn't deal with any other nation like that. That's why, just like you said, how come the white people, they can break God's commandments, but nothing bad happens? Because God gave his word to us. He gave his judgments to us. So if we break them, bad things only happen to us. Because God only gave them to us. You understand that? Now, Deuteronomy 7 and 6. Now, I want you to understand why God did it like that. Because you could think that's a little bit unfair. Why would God do us like that? Why do we got to keep the commandments? Why can't it be the white people who got to do that, right? Now, I'm going to show you how important it is and why you should want to keep the commandments, all right? Read what you got.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God.
So God is speaking here to the Israelites, to the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. He said we're a holy people unto God. You know what the word holy means? No idea?
No, I mean, I have an idea. I just don't know how to explain it.
I got you. It means separate, meaning not like everybody else. He made us a holy people. Read on.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people.
You see that? God chose us as a people to be a special people. He didn't choose the white people. He didn't choose the Chinese people. He didn't choose the Arab people. That's why we're the ones going through the conditions that we go through. But it's key to know that God chose us to be that way. Meaning we're not like everybody else. It's good to be chosen by God. Wouldn't you rather be chosen by the Almighty Creator who created everything than to not be chosen by Him? Absolutely, right? Read on.
Unto himself, above all people.
Now, He made us, or He chose us to be above all people that are what?
That are upon the face of the earth.
Do you realize that God made the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American people to be above all people on the face of the earth? Now, the question is, because like you said, bad things only happen to us, right? So God is saying He made us to be above all people on the face of the earth. Why don't we live like we're above all people today? We read it earlier. I want to see if y'all was paying attention. Why you think that is, Liliana? You said it earlier. That's why I asked you.
We broke the commandments.
There you go. We broke God's commandments. Amos 3 and 1. So remember, the key is, because you all realize before Puerto Ricans, before you were in the land of Puerto Rico, we actually ruled the planet. We were kings on this planet. We were gods on this planet. No other nation could touch us. But we're discontinued from that history to where we don't even realize it. We don't realize we actually had a history before Puerto Rico. We actually have a history before that. But this is why we're on the bottom today. Read what you got.
This is the book of Amos, chapter 3 and verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel.
So who are the children of Israel today?
Us.
We are, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We are the children of Israel. Read on.
Against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt.
You ever read the book of Exodus before? You heard about Moses, the parting of the Red Sea? You ever remember something like that in church? So what happened with Moses in the Red Sea?
They were trying to escape, so God parted the Red Sea so they can get through.
Now, who was trying to escape?
The Israelites?
Israelites. Moses' people was trying to escape who? Remember Pharaoh, let my people go? You remember that? The Egyptians. We were in captivity under the Egyptians. Now, this is the third captivity we read about in just a few scriptures. Right. We were in captivity under the Egyptians, the African people, under the Assyrians, the Middle Eastern people, and today here in America under the so-called white people, right? God said He would take this word up against us, O you children of Israel. Read on.
Saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth.
He said, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. So just like the question you asked earlier, why can white people not keep the commandments and bad things doesn't happen, right? What the Bible just said.
That was only for us.
It was only for us. That's Read it one more time.
Right. You only have I known of all the families of the earth.
God only knew us. God only made us to be the chosen people out of all the families of the earth. Therefore what?
Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquity.
So why are we being punished today? What you say, sis?
For not following the commandments.
There we go, for not following his commandments. Read that bottom part again.
Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquity.
You see that? Iniquities are sins, meaning breaking God's commandments. That's why we're on the bottom of society today. Right. Now, that's what I was going to show y'all next. Now, understanding that the reason why we're on the bottom, we must keep God's commandments. I'm going to show y'all commandments that y'all can keep today, all right? Now, this right here would show that you're actually about solutions and not adding to the problem. Because when we don't keep God's commandments, that's how we continue to be on the bottom. So what y'all have to do today is y'all have to keep God's commandments. That's how you show God that you love him. That's how you show God that you don't like these conditions that you're living in and you're trying to do better.
What is a nation? Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.
And finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord. His word, his word, his word, his word.
So it is you must always have your mind thinking forwardly. That's why the scripture saying what's saying. Read it again, Captain. Where there is no vision. If you don't have the vision to think beyond where you are, the people perish. You will perish. You understand? So we must continue